That now, as we heard, up to 100 men seeking asylum who gathered outside the International Protection Accommodation Services office this afternoon have been told there is no accommodation for them. They've been given details of homeless services in the city, including Tig Lynn, Merchants Quay and the Mendicity Institution. Well, Aubrey McCarthy is founder and chairman of Tig Lynn, and he joins me now. Aubrey, good to talk to you, and you're very welcome to the programme. What happened
Good evening,
there?
Cormac.
What happened there today?
So what happened was when Mount Street was cleared, all the tents were gone. And so we thought a lot of our IPAs who are using our homeless services on Pier Street at the Lighthouse, we thought they would not be turning up. So last night, 27 people turned up for tents and for sleeping bags. It turns out they weren't on the list for Crooksling or City West, so they ended up on the streets. So we had to give them sleeping bags and tents. But today, a further 100 people turned up at the IPO, the office of Mount Street. They were told, they were given a letter and their emails were taken, and they were told that any offer of accommodation would be made by email. Then they were given our details for Tig Lynn, the Lighthouse, and of course Merchants Quay and the Mendicity Institution. Then Gardaí told the 100 that they had to disperse and the office was closed. So many of them now have been queuing at the Lighthouse. They're angry and they're disappointed, and they're looking for sleeping bags and tents.
Do you have any space for them there?
So we're totally out of space now. All our housing is full to the brim. We've been doing this for 16 years. And not only that have we been feeding 80 to 100 a day. 2 nights ago, we fed 550 between 7 and 10 in the evening alone. And they came for sleeping bags, tents, etc. So I know Mount Street could not continue. We did outreach on Saturday and there was about 200 people there. And then when I went on Tuesday, there was nearly 300. So it had grown by 30% in 2-3 days. Yeah. So that was untenable. So it's an unprecedented situation.
So can I ask you, Aubrey, just to be clear on this, the 100 people who arrived at your office today then, where did they come from? Were they from the Mount Street cohort who were moved to City West and Crooksling, and they arrived at your office? Is that it, or were they new people?
There's a mixture. So there's new arrivals. There's one guy who came to me, Ajem was his name. He's was from Gaza. He came through Jordan and then through Belfast. He's here 2 days. So he's arrived in the middle of all of this situation. So he doesn't know what's going on from an Irish point of view. But when he comes to Tig Lynn, we have to show humanitarian support, as we've always done with Irish, English or whoever turns up on our doorstep.
Where are they going to sleep then tonight?
So tonight we give out sleeping bags and tents, and I'm just hoping that they have to go somewhere. I've heard that the Crooksling and the City West situation, the facilities have improved compared to what they were. I've heard our Taoiseach, Simon Harris, saying we all need to take a breath and we need to look for solutions. So I'm working with IPAS, I'm working with Safety Net, we're working with the Irish Refugee Council, and we're looking to see what can be done to these people that are turning on our doorsteps.
But there's no space, for these people in City West or Crooksling. Has that been established?
Well, tonight now at 7 o'clock, we open our doors for the evening service. So then I will hear the true stories. Last night, I heard from 27 people that they weren't on the list for Crooksling or City West. So therefore, it wasn't because of space. It was because they weren't registered. Okay. So it's important that they go to the IPO, they get their card, and then they present themselves at these places.
Can they go now and put tents up in the street? I know they can't do it in Mount Street because we know that they were warned that they might be arrested, people who put up tents there. But what about outside your office? Or you said the police or the Gardaí arrived? Did they give any advice on that?
Well, we've been told that the Gardaí dispersed them on Mount Street, and that's fully understandable. You couldn't walk up the street without being surrounded by tents. But what Tig Lynn does, we focus on the human side. We see the husbands, the sons, the daughters, and they're coming. And what we try to do is create we have music, we have a barber, we have a health nurse. We have all of this going on while they're getting hot food, sleeping bag and tents. But that's open to anybody, and it has been for years. It's just now we're out the door with IPAs, which are international protection applicants.
So here's the problem. You have no space in Tiglen, but the IPAS office have sent them to you, I suppose. So I don't know what happens from here. Look, we'll keep listeners abreast of any developments.
I heard the Taoiseach talking about a rules-based system, and I think if we've nothing against that, that's a good idea if it takes into account the needs of those people who are seeking protection here in Ireland. And remember, protection is the word. They're seeking protection from a system that has failed them. So it's important for us to do our best, but provide a proper infrastructure also for the Irish.
Aubrey McCarthy of Tiglen, thank you very much indeed.